Brought to you by Sip for Your Cause.
Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Nonprofits, a program where we provide great content for nonprofit organizations to find means to increase their awareness, funding, sustainability, and ultimately their impact. So we are proud again to have a great sponsor in the form of Sip for Your Cause. We ask that you please visit them at www.sipforyourcause.org and support them through everyday means. You'll find it's easy, but by contributing in the fashion in which they provide, you will be helping many nonprofit organizations internationally as well as here locally in our area. So again, we ask that you please visit them at www.sipforyourcause.org. So we are so excited to have a great guest here with us on Let's Talk Nonprofits. We met at an event and I was so impressed with her content and her initiative that I am so honored that she accepted the invitation to come and participate. But today I would like to welcome Executive Director of Phenomenal Women's Health, Ms. Cheryl Burnside.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, we're great. And I would tell you, you're going to enjoy the information that's been shared here. And before we get into all of the solid meat stuff, as always, we would like you to know who it is that's really here at the table in conversation with us. So, Cheryl, before we get into all the nuts and bolts, please share with us, who is Cheryl Burnside?
Well, I'm a mother of two. And I've been happily married to my soulmate, Michael Burnside, for 37 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think that's an achievement these days.
It really is.
But I started off, my father was very sick when I was young, and I remember giving him artificial respiration. He would tell me, Cheryl, get on my chest, and I would literally, since I was 6, I was the smallest in the house, I would literally get on his chest and press it in order for him to breathe. And I think dealing with the problems that he had physically, it just had me looking at helping and healthcare. So as I grew up and, of course, dealing with the typical teenager stuff as far as bullying, because I was always old at heart.
Okay, yes.
And I was different to a lot of kids my age because I felt like I was an adult.
Yes.
So, and as I went along, I ended up going to Hampton Institute, which is now Hampton University, for education. And I went into corrective therapy with the federal government, but they could send me anywhere. And I got tired of waiting on the government. You know how slow the process is sometimes.
Yeah.
So I went back to school at the University of Maryland and became a PT. And that was over 37 years.
Wow.
So my husband and my career started
at
the same time.
Okay. Was he at Maryland?
No.
Okay, he was in Maryland.
He was a friend of my cousin. So when I went back to Maryland, that's what I meant.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And before we get into that, I do want to just take this liberty. You're so right about it is rare these days that you hear 37 years of marriage. I always say you hear the very low numbers, maybe 5. You might hear 5 very low, or you're going to hear the large, like 60 plus, but that in between these days, so we tip our hats off to you. We wish nothing but continued success in that marriage and that love relationship.
Thank you.
No, that is not last first kiss, but we cover a lot of range of topics here. But so thank you and welcome again. And so again, so her background, professional training for more than 30 years, as you hear, is physical therapy. And so the first question I really want to ask, and that helps lead into that, how did you get into starting a nonprofit organization?
Well, after 20 years being a physical therapist, I got to the point I got tired of treating what I felt could be prevented.
Okay.
And I was sitting around with a friend, and I thought, how can I show women because I found a lot of women had emotional issues along with the physical, and they do everything. They take care of family, they work, they do it all.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they put everything else first before themselves. But my philosophy is, if you pour out everything to everyone else and not look after yourself, you won't have anything to offer.
Absolutely.
Anyone, even your children.
Absolutely.
So I decided to have a get-together with women, and we had 30 women at my house, and we gave them all awards. And I was blessed because my mentor, Joe Jackson from the Atlanta Alliance, told me he would sponsor me.
Wow.
And I thought, well, I'm just telling you this. He said, I'll sponsor you.
Wow.
So every woman got an award to become a phenomenal woman. And it started from there.
Wow. And so I'm hearing you say that, first of all, there was some issue that you recognized, that
Yes.
there was a problem that existed and you wanted to try to correct it. And
Yes.
it just happened to be in your area. You know, on this show, we tease out nuggets that we hopefully share with others, other nonprofit organizations, so that they can take advantage of what they hear and not have to repeat certain things or utilize those nuggets to build upon what they're already doing. So what I'm hearing initially is, one, she didn't go outside her sphere of what she was already doing in terms of comfort, health. I mean, it was what she was
Exactly.
naturally doing. And she saw a need in that particular field. So those of you who are out there wondering, you know, you want to start a nonprofit organization, first of all, you know where I stand on that. Those of you who follow us regularly, I don't encourage you to start a nonprofit organization. I encourage you to first find out what it is that you think you want to start, and then go out there and find other organizations who are doing it, such as if it's about women's health. Then you reach out to Phenomenal Woman's Health with Ms. Cheryl Burnside and see how you can contribute through volunteering. We'll talk about ways in that. But before you move out there, but if there's still that burning desire, and maybe you can differentiate something that's what she's not providing or no one else is providing, okay, you know, but then think about it. But I discourage people from starting a nonprofit organization. I think that there are enough out there doing great things and who could do even greater things if you pooled your resources and helped. So again, I want to point out the fact that she didn't go out searching for anything. It was in her field. She saw a need. She differentiated what she would be providing.
Yes.
And took advantage of that to bring it back. In fact, if you heard, she didn't really want to start anything. Literally, someone else pushed her.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I thought, because everything wasn't going the way I thought it should go, and one night I told my husband, I said, maybe I'm not supposed to start this nonprofit. And a friend of mine was over there. She said, well, you're going to have a tea party, and we're going to get these women together. I said, but, you know, the young lady who was supposed to start it with me, she kind of backed out. And to me, God does not give you a sense of separation when you're trying to do something.
Okay.
He is not an author of confusion. So my husband said, look, if this is what God told you to do, and this is your purpose in life, do it. If you're not going to do it, I don't want to hear another word out of you.
Okay.
So I took a deep breath, and the rest is
Okay.
history.
Very good. Very good. Again, so please take advantage of what you're hearing. Review this episode and learn from what you're hearing Ms. Burnside share with you. It was not a leaping and running towards something, you know. And usually those significant calls are not ones that you run towards.
Yes.
You're running from them, and it catches up with you to ultimately where you have to
Caught
give me.
up.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
it did.
again, guys, second nugget, you know, be keenly aware of whether you're being called to do something or whether it's something that you're pushing. Now, let's talk about the faith-based community's role in promoting health, because that's what you're really about. You're about promoting good health with a focus on women, correct?
Yes.
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 So the faith-based communities, what's their responsibility?
Well, what I'm finding, a lot of times it's hard to get a woman to look after herself. and put herself first. So we had a program called I Will Survive the Issues of the Heart to prevent heart disease, or what I call the generational curse of heart disease in families.
Yeah.
So we went to the faith-based community because we found that if the pastor or the first lady advises his congregation to do something about their health,
Yeah.
they're more prone to do it.
Yeah.
So when we had our first program in Clayton County, we had 7 churches represented during the course of our 3-month program,
Okay.
I Will Survive.
Yeah.
And it was very successful.
Sounds like it.
We-
Whenever you can pull 7 churches to be involved in something.
Yes, and I try not to have it at a particular church.
Mhm.
I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want anyone to think, well, why are they having it at that church and not ours?
Right.
But we had it in a neutral location, and the women lost between 7 to 38 pounds,
Wow.
and that's after a year following
Wow.
the program. So we're very happy about that.
Is that an ongoing program?
Well, we want to start another program
Okay.
this year, but we're putting a little twist on it.
Okay.
We want to Ustream it, and we want as many churches as we can get so they can see it on Ustream.
Mhm.
But the key to it is that each church has to come up with an exercise program for their group of women. So it's almost like a contest. What church
Yeah.
can get the most amount of women
Yeah.
to lose more weight than the other congregations?
Wow.
And we'll Ustream it, but we also will have like vegetable of the week
Yes.
to promote good eating.
Yes.
And we're working on that now, going to the different churches to see who wants to participate.
Well, I tell you, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Overground Railroad.
No, I'm not.
Well, I
Educate me.
yeah, well, I will off air, but what I want to make, it's a great source for church access. So I'll put it that
Okay.
way. And so we'll go into
Great,
deep
great.
conversation about that. But I just, that's a great initiative, and I just love the thought. And so that just came to my mind. We definitely have to make sure that you get all of the participants that you can maximize. Listen, I want you to also get your church involved if you're out there. You will find out. In fact, right now, let's stop and tell them how they can get in touch with you.
Well, you can contact me, Cheryl Burnside, at 404-268-5451. That is our number. Or you can email me, and I'd rather you email me directly at cburn1 at comcast.net. And that's cburn1 at comcast.net.
And listen, please, you've heard about the event that's going to take place. She's looking for churches to participate. I'm already seeing a great event taking place. You don't want to be left out. Please take advantage of it. Leave a comment in the YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment there. Put your church information there. We'll pass it on to Ms. Burnside. Whatever you need to do to get your church involved, please do so. Reach out to us the ways that we'll share and that you know, and we will make sure that Ms. Burnside receives the information to get you involved. Now, let's go on to talk about some issues that are not addressed in childhood that affect, we're going to talk about women, but we know the adult population. But what are some of those childhood illnesses or that are not addressed?
Well, what had happened, we started volunteering at various domestic abuse shelters. And if you ever went into a middle school, you would see the girls' heads down, their shoulders rounded. Well, you also see those things in domestic abuse shelters. And at that point, we realized it doesn't start when they get in the shelter. It starts around middle school age. So we started a program, Loving Me Phenomenally, with endless possibilities, to show these young girls that you can be whoever you want to be, but you gotta love yourself first. Because if you don't love yourself, you can't expect anybody else to love you. And that goes into adulthood.
I tell you, and we're going to get more into that conversation. But before you go, and before we go to our commercial break, I want to, again, another nugget. One thing she said repeatedly, and that is not easily done, but she says, love yourself first. Give attention to yourself first, because then and only then will you be in the best health, frame of mind health, physical health, and any other way, financial health.
Financial.
Yeah, if you
spiritual.
Yeah, you first have to get yourself, give attention to yourself first, and then be able to get. My wife,
exactly.
my wife often talks about in business, using the analogy that's out there about the oxygen mask. She talks about like the airplane. Attendants that say, put your oxygen mask on first, and then you can see about helping somebody else. And that's what I'm hearing you push in terms of your health and all those. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and continue this great conversation with Executive Director of Phenomenal Women's Health, Mrs. Cheryl Burnside. And again, we want to thank our show sponsor, Sip for Your Cause. Please, again, as you look at their commercial and all those things, our advertisers, please support them because they keep this great content on the air. Thank you. See you after the break.
What happens when soldiers come home? Brene Foundation offers hero support to ensure that our heroes abroad can continue to be heroes at home. We link veterans with organizations who are dedicated to guiding the transition from military hero to civilian hero. If you want to find out how you can support our troops at home, please contact the Brene Foundation or visit brene.com.
Does your son need a more challenging, focused, and encouraging educational environment? Renaissance Christian Academy is an affordable private school for boys located in McDonough, Georgia, with certified teachers that are uniquely equipped to help your son master learning. You're welcome to schedule a tour of our facilities by calling 770-305-9881 or by visiting our website at rcaboysacademy.org. Renaissance Christian Academy, developing young men to be great leaders through Christ-centered learning.
Welcome back, and we thank you for supporting our sponsors and our advertisers. Again, we encourage you to take advantage of the opportunity to help nonprofit organizations by supporting or taking advantage of what sipforyourcause.org has to offer. So, again, we're here with Executive Director of Phenomenal Women's Health, Mrs. Cheryl Burnside, and we are just having a great time talking about women's health. I would say, from what I've heard, even from the first time I heard you speak at an event, I was thoroughly impressed with your passion and with your vision. And before the break, we were talking about loving me phenomenally. And would you share with them, again, what is it, who can become involved, and how can they become involved?
Okay. Well, as I told you, we found that there were a lot of issues in adult women that really started when they were younger.
Right.
So we started Loving Me Phenomenally with Endless Possibilities. We teach girls etiquette, self-esteem, what a healthy relationship is. Because a lot of times they don't know.
Absolutely.
And you wonder as an adult woman why they keep getting the wrong man.
Yes.
And it just happens to be a cycle. But if you get them when they're younger and find out what is ticking and what is happening in their life, and get them to love themselves first, hopefully you won't find that kind of relationship when they get older. But we also teach them nutrition. We've introduced them to STEM, and we have engineers come in because it's so important for these girls to know here's a career that you can go into, science, technology, engineering, and math, and hopefully get a full ride.
Yes.
Because if you find the women in the shelters, the main reason they're in the shelter is economics. So we can teach them to get a profession where they
Right.
can support themselves.
Yes.
So if these problems do happen in the future, they can financially support
Right.
themselves.
Right. What's the age range of the children involved, the young girls?
The ages are 11 from 14, but what had happened, we had so many girls that left the program that called back. They wanted it to volunteer. We pushed it to 15. And we do have a 16-year-old that came back and is volunteering.
Okay.
And we're very proud of our
Yeah.
girls because they've learned that fitness is important. They've learned that eating properly. We have a nutritionist or a dietitian
Okay.
that come in and talk to them. We have females who are in various occupations, dentists, doctors, lawyers, just to show them they were just like you,
Yeah.
your age,
Yes.
going through the bullying.
Yes.
But this is what happened. They had occupations that they can be proud
Yeah.
of.
Well, I tell you, I can just imagine that opportunity. What does the program look like? How frequently do they meet? And is there a beginning period and end, you know?
We normally start the first week of March
Okay.
every year. It's a yearly program. And we run for 8 weeks, every Saturday. After that, we will touch bases with them throughout the year because the parents
Good.
expressed,
Yeah.
desire for
Yeah.
us to continue the program.
Yes.
But we do it according to our finances.
Mhm.
But the girls are really enthusiastic. They come in very shy. They don't want to speak to anybody. They're all, as I said, the rounded shoulders. But by the time they finish our program, we don't have that problem.
So what's the criteria for them participating?
They just have to be one of 25 because
Okay.
we only accept 25 girls
Okay.
to have a more intimate
Yes.
relationship with
Yes.
them. So first come, first serve.
Okay.
And we basically would charge them $30. But any other activity that we do, if we don't have our sponsors, the girls are required to raise a certain amount.
Okay.
And we give them
Yeah.
opportunities to raise this through car washes,
Okay.
through various fundraising
Yeah.
activities.
Yeah.
But we like to, exposure is
Yeah.
very important.
Yes.
We took the girls to a play at the Fox, and some have never been to a play or at the Fox. So we want to expose them to as many firsts as we can.
Very good. Well, let me tell you, I want to encourage you to reach out to Phenomenal Women's Health and get your child involved. Again,
Yes.
you hear there are only 25 spots, guys, and I'm sure anyone that hears about this opportunity will be eager to get one of those spots. So I'm encouraging you to take advantage now. Go through the website?
Yes.
Okay.
Our website is iamphenomenal.org, IamPhenomenal.org. I have to say it slowly because
Yes.
I get kind of
Yes, you did. In fact,
I-
I was here waiting. I'm like, okay, she got it. She got it. That was very well done. And I would tell you, you have the information to reach out to Phenomenal Women's Health to get your child involved. Please do so immediately. You can do it while you're listening to this episode now, but secure your spot. And you don't know, depending on how things go, they might have to create a waiting list, and you might have access to some sponsors and some donors who they would have to run a second program after that one finishes. So, I'm always pushing stuff on other folks. So,
That would be great.
Yeah, so please, guys, reach out to them, get involved, even if you don't have children, but you know any girl that fits that category or that age range, please reach out, tell them about it, sponsor a child, and find out how you you can contribute towards maybe even getting in there and doing some things. You hear they're bringing professionals in, other people in to help the operation take place. So reach out to them, and we will tell you how. You've already heard some ways you can reach out, but please do so. Get your child involved or someone that you know. Now, what is in the future for Phenomenal Women's Health?
Well, we're really looking to take the Love and Me program into the schools because I did, as being a physical therapist, at one time I treated 5 teachers in 2 months because of fights in the schools.
Wow.
And it's amazing to see the teachers having to defend themselves to separate the kids from fighting. But something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something is gravely wrong. So if we can take it into the schools and start teaching the girls how to put their anger other places, because you never know what a child goes through before they hit that door in the morning.
Yes.
But if there's some way that we can help that, to show them that you are loved and what a healthy relationship is, because if you have confusion in the home, that's going to bring confusion in the classroom.
Absolutely. Ms. Burnside, you hit on another passion of mine, and I definitely won't belabor this, but I am going to reach out to my fellow former colleagues out there in education. Being a former principal for 11 years of high schools, middle schools, you know what your authority is in terms of bringing in positive organizations to help surround the whole child. Guys, those of you who are listening to me, whether I know you personally, don't want to call you by name, but even those of you who I may not know, but you're in the field of education and you're in the decision-making capacity and role, please reach out to Phenomenal Women's Health, to Ms. Cheryl Burnside, and find out how you can get this program to join in with your collective integrated programs to help those children. And we know it's needed. She's already hit on some of the concerns and issues, but we need the community to be involved. We're always talking about it as principals. Here's an organization that I'm very confident in that will help bring about the achievement that we all seek, and those of you who are still in the education field would love to have. So, again, I would be reaching out to you personally, but ask that you please, if you have to, put a comment in the YouTube space right now. If you're watching YouTube, tell me that you want to get involved, and we will make sure that you connect with Ms. Burnside and her initiative of Loving Me Phenomenally. I want to go back. You talked about the success of your women's program in terms of losing weight and those type of things. So how are things going now? You hear like the Biggest Loser or something like that, and where people lose all this weight, but then they gain it back. So what's going on with your program, those who finished?
Well, the ones that finish, we want them to be our facilitators for the next group of I Will Survive, because as long as you have that support, and people can lose weight, but something can happen like holidays and you start eating again. But if you have a support system or someone you can call, it helps you to stay on the right path. And we're looking for our first group of ladies to be support systems for the second group.
I like that.
And because we need help.
Yes.
We really do.
Yes.
And the same with the girls. We need help. We can't do it alone.
And what better way to go through a program and maintain the success you achieve by being with someone who can share and relate to what you're going through,
Exactly.
It's something different to hear someone give some theoretical thoughts about how they think you can do better, whatever it is you're doing and trying to achieve. But to have someone to have gone through it, that right there is motivation alone, that you're able to connect with someone there. So that I like that idea.
Yes, and we go over the physical, mental, spiritual, and fiscal aspects. It's not just, you lose weight. But as, I don't know if Oprah said this or not, but it's not what you're eating, but a lot of times it's what's eating you. And if you don't have that component during your weight loss, you're going to bounce back each time.
Wow. Well, great information, guys. And not only are you getting some good information from a nonprofit leader, but remember, she does have a health background professionally. So please, you're getting some great information. I before we wrap up, so where do you go from here?
Well, right now, I am working with our girls because I would love to take them to the Space Center in Huntsville. And with the women, I really want to get them to start nurturing each other. I work in a facility that's in the same location as a heart center. It amazes me how many young strokes I've been treating lately. And some of this can be prevented to me because their stress level was so high prior to the stroke or the heart attack. If we can save one woman, we can save generations, because that woman's going to feed her kids or get them on a health program one way, and then they're going to do it to their kids. So we have to start with the woman. And just remember, you got to save that woman.
Let me say this before we begin to close. Women out there, please take advantage of this opportunity for someone providing resources for you to achieve not just physical health, as you've heard. They take and treat, and I say treat, but they help you achieve success in your well-rounded approach to living. And so I encourage you, we here at Let's Talk Nonprofits encourage you to reach out to Phenomenal Women's Health and find out how you can get involved. She's already given you the web address. We will go through all of the contact means before we go. But before we wrap up, tell the people how they can get involved. How can they volunteer? How can they contribute financially and otherwise?
Well, we always love volunteers. We have had so many requests to be at various functions, but not enough volunteers. And right now we're partnering with Emory. They have a study called 10,000 Women that they want to screen 10,000 women in the next 5 years, and we are partners. The more volunteers we have, the more screenings we can arrange through Phenomenal Women's Health. So if you would just contact Phenomenal Women's Health at imphenomenal.org or 404 268 I'm sorry.
Don't worry
404-268-5451. We can give you more information about it, and we also help to support other nonprofits. It's not just Phenomenal Women's Health.
And that's a great last nugget to leave off on. I'm a big promoter of nonprofits breaking down those silos and working collaboratively where possible. So again, they're doing that. If you're another health organization, reach out to them and have a discussion. Find out how things might work with you guys collaborating to achieve the common goals that you have. So we want to thank you for tuning in to our episode of Let's Talk Nonprofits. Before we go, let them know how they can reach you again.
Okay. You can read us. You can contact us through imphenomenal.org or info@Phenomenal Women's Health. Also, you can contact me directly at CBURN1 at Comcast.net. And that's cburn1 at Comcast.net.
Guys, again, Nash Alexander III, host of Let's Talk Nonprofits, encouraging you to please get involved. Please respond to this episode via the YouTube at youtube.com/BizLinksTV, our Facebook page, BizLinks TV, and also visit our shows at www.bizlinks.tv. Again, you will be able to access this show repeatedly. It's on demand, and we look forward to sharing with you other great shows. We would like to hear about you reaching out and the results of you getting engaged. So thank you, and as we always say here at Let's Talk Nonprofits, we wish you much success.